Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Various Stages of Growth for episode 25, part two. And Will, I think this is actually our first two-part episode, so we're going a little long with this episode, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff to talk about, and also I was just slacking, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword on why this has to happen. But this is episode 25, part D. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this could wind up being the Empire Strikes Back of this episode, right? Hopefully it ends on a better note than that movie.
Yeah, we would hope so. Sorry, just by blew people's ears out, but yeah, we'd hope so. We'll see. We can't promise anything. That's not what we do here. Um, but we do have some stuff to talk about that we didn't get to talk about last time. So, this is the cleanup episode, the mop up episode, if you want to call it.
Yeah, and look, we're gonna be focusing this one mainly on comics and a lot of video game news, kind of floating around all over the place. I know you've been playing a lot of stuff. I've been playing a lot of stuff, so we're gonna get into all that stuff. Before we do that, please follow us on Twitter at VSG Podcast, at
Please.
VSG Podcast. Follow us on YouTube at Various Stages of Growth. Like, comment, subscribe on all the videos. Give us that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Comment. We'll reach out back to you. It helps us a lot.
Yeah, and we'll get some of those links out there too. Not to go too off topic, but I do know that some of you would like some alternatives from Twitter, so we'll provide those as well. And those of you on Twitter can still follow on Twitter, but I'm not getting into that lengthy debate now. But we'll have some alternatives.
We'll just leave that conversation.
We're
there.
gonna leave it here, but we'll be proactive in case Twitter goes bankrupt and goes dark. So we're gonna have backups. Let you know we're working on it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a couple more social medias because, like you said, we're not sure what's going on. So,
no, like more than usual. We're not sure what's going on, But yeah, so we'll definitely get some stuff out there. We'll get our, we're working on it. It's coming. We're going to be proactive. We're not going to go the way of the dinosaurs and just have no way to reach out to you if this all goes souther from here.
Ooh. And look, if Twitter does implode in the next 24, 48 hours, you can always send us an email at vsgrowthpodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us there. We'll shoot you some links, to other alternate stuff where you can talk to us and get the conversation going.
I'm not going to be able to do the podcast today. I'm telling you right now, man, I'm going to be too distracted. I can't. So I got this curl. See, I think it's a headphone. I got like the Superman curl going.
That's what I thought you were doing. I thought it was on purpose. I thought it was an homage to Henry Cavill coming back.
No, I wish. So the whole time looking at when I try to do that, like Halloween or whatever, dressing up, I can't. But I can't not do it today. I can't not look at it now. It's just like I can't. So totally aware of that. You can put it in the comments. I get it. No tribute. But I will be highly distracted and probably not very valuable to the podcast. So I'll apologize in advance.
You're just going to be acting. You're just going to keep acting like a model. You're just going to keep slicking your hair back constantly the entire episode.
Sure. We're going to go with that. You're going to see. Just give me. And you're right. You nailed it, man. Like I'm not going to be able to stop. I'm such a baby when it comes to this stuff. I'll be doing this the whole time, and I know it. Like I'm not. So I'll be. We'll be talking about. God of War or something like that, and I'll just be totally it's gotta just keep letting it work. So sorry.
Well, look, let's jump into some comics and books. That way, get your mind off of the hair. Hopefully, even though there is some Superman updates. Will, you're reading a bunch of stuff right now. Why don't you run us through this?
So I'm trying to catch up. I'm almost caught up to Dark Crisis, or I'm pretty much caught up. I started trying to read the whole event and then just got overwhelming. So I'm just sticking with the core issues now. Not too many spoilers, but they kind of revealed what what looks to be the final big bad in the in the last issue. Spoiler alert on this piece. Spoiler alert. They brought the Justice League is coming back and it's merging. But what I'm bringing it up for is there's an event coming called Lazarus Planet, and it looks like once again, and it's DC we're talking about, but it looks like again it's heading towards another reset, but another merge. So like the last big reset was totally. When Rebirth came out was the last big one, then they went to whatchamacallit, like Future State, and they went, and so it's kind of jumbled all over the place because it was supposed to be another initiative that fell through with DC. But it looks like now, and pretty much like Joshua Williamson has been kind of heading this up, and he's been laying groundwork for quite a while, and they're going to continue on with it. And so I know you went to New York Comic Con. They had the update on the Superman and the Superman family
Yeah.
books, so that's cool coming out. It does look like there is a point of focus to really try to reset and get a handle on the core characters and not completely do away with some of the new ones, but to put some of the core characters back to their basics. I always hate too much when they start messing around with what works and get lazy rather than trying to come up with something fresh and new. It looks like they're gonna they'll bring super now putting Superman in World was fantastic. So I'm not
Mhm.
that was amazing, but they're bringing Kal-El back to Earth. It looks like that Hal Jordan is once again going to be involved with the Justice League. It looks like one of that I'm most interested in this Lazarus Planet is kind of what they do with I hate calling him this, but Shazam, but that's what they call him. It's Captain Marvel. It's the
He's
real
not anymore. They don't want that confusion.
yeah, it's the real Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. But I'm wondering on some of the teases, on some of the solicitations, if they're going to go back and really go back to the traditional Captain Marvel character because he has not been called that since I think the New 52. He's been Shazam.
Yeah, it's been Shazam for a long time now.
Yeah, it's been, and so even when the comic, you go back and read, pre-crisis or even post-crisis, anything Shazam, he was still referred to as Captain Marvel in the comics. They just can't put it on the front. But so I think, I guess where I'm getting at is we talked a lot last week, too much than most people would like to hear, but about resetting the DC EU, and it looks like from a comic point of view, they're going to do another reset, but it's going to be sort of kind of finding a place for everything,
Mhm.
and rather instead of replacing. Now, as far as when it comes to the Batman and the Bat family, that's a whole other podcast because
They're all over the place with those.
it's a whole other podcast. So I'm not going to touch it. But you're seeing some resets, like I said, with Superman, and some other characters I mentioned, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and stuff. So we'll see. So I have been getting back into it slowly. I'm going back into it. It's I'm hoping because I will say I got real into it around the rebirth period and really followed through. I'd say for almost 3-4 years, tried to keep up with everything.
Mhm.
And then strangely enough, when COVID hit and there was like that huge gap when nothing got published, it's kind of where I
Yeah.
fell off and then I backed up. But I'm trying to play catch up now. There's some good stuff out there. So hopefully they'll get their comic universe back on the right track as well.
Yeah, and look, that's exciting, especially for me, because like I've been out of comics for a while because, like you said, it just became too much. You had your main storylines, and then every storyline had two or three spin-off books that tied in, and you needed to pick this up, and it kind of just became too much. I want to see it shrink down, keep everybody in their main story, and just kind of give me one, maybe two books. I don't need 15 books for the same storyline.
Yeah, you really don't. And one of the things that's funny because I always kill DC, they're constantly resetting continuity. And on the flip side, though, with Marvel, they're really trying to keep the same continuity. You know, at
Mhm.
nauseum, they try to keep it. The one downside to that is, though, it's really hard to catch up when you fall behind because they do try to keep everything that matters. So
Yeah.
when Marvel does do a big reset, like when they reset X-Men a couple of times, but the big one with the Hickman run a couple of years ago, I was able to get back into it. Um, so I do appreciate a proper reset if you've been out of comics in a while and you can dive back in, or a reset point or a good point, whether it's for a certain series or a certain character. But it's tough, man. When you dip in and out of comics, and I know for a while you were hardcore collecting, reading, and stuff, and I've been
Oh
in
yeah.
and out. I've been in and out. I really tried getting back into Marvel. It's really hard. Now I just pick and choose what I want to read because the continuity pretty much stays so straight. There's not a reset. That's why I love when I was a kid when they put out the Ultimates and Ultimate Spider-Man because it was a whole new world, whole new continuity, and I could just pick up and go. And even back then, you look at it now, you go into like the Marvel Unlimited, digital edition, and look at uh, the main universe, what was printed prior to that, it's really not a lot compared to what is now. So I do hope they streamline things. I think for the nature of the business, they're going to have to streamline some things because comics and comic sales and comic book shops and distribution is a whole other podcast once again. But there's nothing wrong, I think, with streamlining your core characters or your core stories and having that continuity. Um, as long as, like I said, I hate when they mess with existing characters. I want to see them grow. I want to see, but to push them
Mhm.
aside, just to replace them with something kind of similar, but not, no, like just come up with your own, give them your own stories. It's going to tie into something later. We talk about video games, about giving characters their own stories that I think is really works. So, we'll see. I'm getting back into it. So I'm hoping to, once we get through Dark Crisis, that's going to be the next reset. What's coming next, and kind of I'll keep up with it after that. That'll be my vow. Maybe I'll get you into Marvel. You can keep up with the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I'll try. It's
Mhm.
that's one of the, like I said, that's one of the reasons I stopped. I mean, trying to keep up with all the Star Wars books alone was impossible.
Oh,
You
terrible,
know,
terrible.
I was
Even
reading Doctor Aphra, I was reading The Main, and then there's a Lando spinoff, there's a Han Solo spinoff, there's a, there's a Captain Phasma spinoff, there's two different Vader runs. Like it was too much.
so it's funny you bring that up. A while back I got Marvel Limited for the sole purpose of just going through and reading the when Marvel took over and they changed the canon, like with the novels, with the
Mhm.
comics. Tried to same thing. The problem I found with it, I don't know if you found it when you're reading, is they God, I know it's Star Wars, so don't throw stuff at me. But they do so much like out of continuity. So like you'll be into a series and then the next one comes out, but it takes place like 30 years later, 40 years later. So you're kind of it's very disjointed. It's all you've got 4 or 5 series going and they're all different eras. And to me, that was the biggest challenge when you're not binge reading them because they're out there. To me, it was a challenge weekly keeping up because you just keep hopping eras. I don't know if you felt that as well.
Yeah, yeah, because they have their main run, right? The main Star Wars run, and then they'll do a 6 issue series or story about it, and then they send out the whole checklist of books you need to keep up with this. But then you get to read this storyline, you need to pick up Doctor Aphra 25, and then also Vader number 6 ties in, and then we're doing a one shot with this character, and then there's 5 issues of this, and it's like just slow down and give me a break.
Yeah. Well, and there was some great stuff in there. The Afro stories were great. The Bounty Hunters miniseries, the Rise of Bounty
Yeah.
Hunters was tremendous. There's some great stuff. It to me was so overwhelming. And then I'll give you an example. So then I said, all right, I got to step back. Then the High Republic came out with the comics, and I said, you know what?
Yep.
Let me just focus on the High Republic comics. But you had 3 or 4 different ones going there, and then it wasn't so much the comics were overwhelming because there were only about 3 or 4 titles, but it was trying to find where they fit in with the other novels. So I was reading the novels,
Yeah.
trying to keep up with the novels, but then I'm reading the comics and I'm like, wait, did this happen before? Is this before, the event? Is this after is this the prequel? Okay. And then it got insane. So I'm almost waiting for everything's out where I can binge it and just go through it clearly because of all the hopping around and stuff and what you need to read first or when to read it. So yeah, man, it's tough going. I understand having all those titles out there. I understand why they do it, but it's as a reader or as a completist reader, it's really hard to keep up with.
Yeah, and look, bottom line, another thing that got me out, going to the comic book shop every week and spending 125 dollars on books, just like you said, trying to keep up with everything, DC, Marvel, a couple independent things here and there that I like. It's just it became too much space wise, money wise, time wise.
Yeah, and I feel you, man. Like, and that's why I went digital, which kills me because I appreciate the arts of comics, and I don't get that layout anymore. Like when I
Mhm.
had the physical book in my hand, but at least I'm able to keep up with narratives and stories. And in the Comixology app, let's not talk about the disaster after they change everything. But one of the good things I will say it still has is does have access to a lot of the indie comics and some of the other comics that you can still see.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a disaster compared to what it was, and it's gotten a little better, but it's still when they did that big changeover, it's been an issue. But yeah, man, there's so much out there, and to keep up financially, and to keep up, just with the volume, it's a lot, man. So yeah, we'll see. I'm going back into the DC. I have a pretty good grasp of DC. If you talk the next last 5 or 6 years of DC Comics, I'm in a pretty good place. But if you try to talk to me about Marvel Comics, like that, I'm done since the late '90s. I did try to go back and start with like Avengers Disassembled and start, and
Mhm.
I did get pretty far. I got about a year and a half in, but then I just felt it was overwhelmed by the volume. Um, so we'll see. But yeah, like I said, well, I will try to keep us up to date on the happenings in the DC comic universe going forward now.
Yeah. So look, that's pretty much it for comics and books. Unless there's anything else you want to throw in there real quick.
No, no, not right now. I'm gonna, like I said, we'll get to it. But yeah, I'll throw the gauntlet down. You can keep up with Marvel.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Well, that'll be a whole other weekly show of just me trying to connect the timeline. Maybe I'll get a whiteboard of everything going on, you know.
Yeah, but it's funny because I love how Marvel does everything. It keeps everything in continuity, but it's frustrating because if it Spider-Man should be about 100 years old right about now, and he's still a kid. But other than that, they do a great job. I know he's older now. I get it, but it's still yeah,
Spiders age differently.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the bite.
All right, so let's jump into some gaming because there's been a lot of stuff in the past couple weeks that we haven't got a chance to talk about. A bunch of games that came out, some pretty big games too. Let's start with some news. PlayStation is dropping a DualSense Edge controller for $200. It's one of those elite customizable controllers. Any interest in spending $200 on a controller?
No, no, no,
Yeah, look, I'm kind of right there
not
with you.
now. I mean, maybe yeah.
I'm not good. I'm not good enough or I play enough to warrant spending $200 on a controller.
Right. Like if I was able to, start a Twitch and make it a gold mine, then I'd get it and I'd need to have it. But right now, no, no,
Yeah, and look, we'll
I'm
get
not the
into a little
audience.
bit later how bad I am at some games, but I don't need to spend this kind of money.
That's yeah, no.
There was we also had a ton of Silent Hill news. They had like that little press release where they announced, I think it was 3 different games, including which my most excited for is the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yep.
I remember playing that game on PlayStation. Awesome game, classic. So that's the one that stands out to me.
Yeah, and I'm excited, and I don't know if I'm more excited or more relieved that they finally just gave us something. Like how long were we waiting? And we talked about it. Like they kept teasing. We knew it was out there, but we never got any updates.
It
So
it
you
was
know,
yeah,
can
it's
you
like
hear
you
me?
said,
Okay.
it was years at this point of them kind of just I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Uh-oh. We're good? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little
Hmm.
technical difficulties. But yeah, Silent Hill. It was always rumored. It's been almost 2 years at this point, right? That they were kind of teasing. There's a new game in the works. Nobody's going to officially announce it. Now you finally have those. I think it was Silent Hill Town and Silent Hill F, which is like a more like Japanese style game. So if you're a Silent Hill fan, there's stuff coming out that you're excited for.
Silent Hill F. So
Yeah, I
is
don't know
that
what the F stands for.
okay? I didn't. I'm gonna look that up
Let your
over
minds
here.
run wild, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm telling you what, Silent Hill F. I didn't see that. You are is that a completely new story set in the 1960s Japan. So like when is
Yep.
that coming out?
I don't know
When
if
is
there was
that?
release dates for any of it.
Okay.
It was kind of just, hey, this is what we're working on, and you'll get more eventually.
Ah, Silent Hill F. All right. Okay. So do we have a release order though? Maybe not time. I mean, just like what's coming first.
We don't, not that I know of, unless they've announced stuff since that initial press conference. Everything was just kind of here's game announcements and more information to follow.
All right. Okay. Well, at least we have something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and look, kind of in the same vein as Silent Hill, we got another Resident Evil 4 remake trailer slash gameplay trailer. This game comes out, I think it's March 23rd, I want to say. I'm not 100% correct, but I know it's in March. Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I cannot wait to play this game. It looks amazing. Day one, I'm there. Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I went back and tried to download the old remaster recently.
Mhm.
Man, did I get dizzy because of the frame rate. It was bad, dude. I didn't last very long. Um, so yeah, I'm excited. A quick Resident Evil question for you. The
Mhm.
Village. Did you download the DLC?
I haven't downloaded it yet.
Okay. Because was this DLC? I know it was the daughter's story, but did it also include the third person view mode too in the game?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you downloaded the DLC, you got the daughter story and you got the alternative mode for the third person style of it.
Oh man, all right, I'm gonna have to do that when I have time, Matt. I may have to do that when I have
Uh, y-
time.
Yeah, because look, we're gonna hit a couple games here that I know we've been playing, and there's way too many games to keep up with right now, and I gotta kind of you gotta kind of pick and focus. And look, you've been focusing on Gotham Knights.
Yep.
The floor is yours. Talk about it.
So it's funny you should say that, Matt. So, um, full disclosure, I just literally about 10 minutes, 20 minutes before we started, I just beat it. So
Nice.
I completed it. I won't, no spoilers here. Um, but I ranted last week about Black Adam and the reviews and stuff. We talked a couple weeks ago about the frame rate issue. Um, and people were freaking out about that online and
Mhm.
stuff. And um, I'm gonna say this. I don't get it, and I think I'm gonna stop reading reviews online because I don't get it. Like I played it, okay? Is it perfect? No. Was it super glitchy and did I have a lot of issues with it? No, I didn't even notice it. In fact, I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it from this aspect. I enjoyed it a lot because the freedom to choose your character, and each character had its own little path and own little story.
Mhm.
So as you progressed in the story, and you could swap characters and build them up, you weren't grind. First of all, it was like everything they threw at it. I didn't see like, oh, I don't like grinding. Grinding is the Avengers game that came out. That was
Yes,
freaking grinding,
which I stopped playing.
which I stopped playing because I didn't want to grind anymore. Like I'm me and the Hulk. So I was trying to be the Hulk. First of all, the interface. I saw stuff on Gotham Knights getting hit on the frame rate. Started it. Then the interface is outdated. It's awful. Like who the heck? I mean the UI. I mean stop. Please stop.
Yeah,
Then
that's such a small detail
it's
of a game.
yeah,
Is it really
and
worth complaining about?
it didn't take away from it. In fact, having the simple interface, once you get learn how to navigate it, is simple. How to where I had Avengers for months, I still didn't know how to navigate in that game. There were times where it took me forever how to get onto the main. You know what I'm saying? I'd be looking at that
Yeah, I
warboard
do because I
and be
played that
like, "Where
game.
do I go? Wait, is this the?" Please, okay. I haven't even touched the multiplayer Gotham Knights yet. I just wanted, I did this thing. I will probably check it out. I still want to go through like after you clear the game, you still have an opportunity to go back in and do the other missions and stuff. So it doesn't just shut down.
Mhm.
Very similar to Spider-Man, where you can continue playing. But I didn't get the glitches. I had one glitch. First of all, it didn't freeze on me, unlike Arkham Knight did
Mhm.
multiple times when I was and basically I rage quit it twice because I kept getting frozen. I enjoyed the game, but the tired driving around the Batmobile. Here, when you have to drive or ride the bike or whatever, eventually you can do certain stuff where you can have fast travel, you can do the bike, and it's not a grind, it's not clunky, it's smooth. Like
Mhm.
all the things that you read about, like, oh, it's gonna be a trick. I didn't encounter all of it. The only glitch I encountered was a video glitch recently towards the last mission. They did a cut screen, and Jason Todd's in the not the in the belfry is kind of where they have their main base, and the two little strings from his
Mhm.
hoodie were like stuck like this, like sticking out. So it was like an audio glitch on a cut screen. It's all I encountered. It's all I encountered. I didn't get my guy stuck. I didn't have it frozen. Maybe once it paused for like a second if there was a lot going. Maybe once the whole time, but it did not take away from my play experience. Every character had their own story, and so it was beneficial to keep switching characters because you wanted to keep seeing their own story. Every character interacted different with
Mhm.
the villain. I'm hoping for DLC. They haven't announced anything yet, but you have three separate case files from Batman villains that you get to play through, in addition to the main case, which I loved because I felt like it was a lot more connected than some of the side missions and even the Arkham games, where you were like, okay, I'm tracking. And
Mhm.
forget the Riddler trophies. You want to bang your head against the wall, but like even the
That
trying
was
to
a
track.
nightmare.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that for this. They were very simple. Now, is the game short on the short side, single player? Hmm. It is, but I don't. That's not bothering me because of what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so it actually perfect. I got it done just in time. But like, I enjoyed so much playing as the different characters. Each character was different. Each character, when they got their knighthood ability, which, like I said, I'm not going to try to spoil anything, but when they got their knighthood ability, you could do different things with, and it felt good. But like, I just had a good time hopping out, patrolling, doing my thing, and then heading back to the Belfry. Like, I never felt like I was grinding. I didn't encounter the glitches. The comprehension and Easter eggs in the game are ridiculous if you're a DC fan. Like the amount of
Mhm.
Easter eggs were ridiculous. There's a compendium book that came out that shows you how much. And I will tell you this too: when you're playing the different levels and you're going through the different hideouts and stuff, not once did I feel like, oh, this is so repetitive. Oh, it's the same thing. Some of the things you have to do with obviously the stealth and the sneaking up, and that's how the game. I mean, that's how it plays. But the locations were so different all the time. It never felt like I was just walking through a template constantly. So I don't get it, man. I see these games get review bombed, and I have to think they're ulterior motives. I have to because I've
Especially
look
especially before, like, people have had a full chance to play the game, and, it's
right.
like, like you said, like, the frame rate issue. Okay, yeah, you said you didn't even notice it when you played. So, yeah,
I
but
did,
people wanted to freak out about it and complain about it. Play the game and see if it affects it.
and let's talk about this. So we talk about the big IP games. Okay, let's just talk big IP games. We're gonna get in other games, but let's talk big IP games. Spider Man was tremendous. Okay,
Mhm.
the Miles Morales one was good too. A little short, but it was good. So you got a good you hit on Spider Man. Star Wars Battlefront 2. When that game got released, it was a train wreck.
It was a disaster.
They spent a year and a half making the game fantastic. But at that point,
Yeah,
everyone had moved on. A year and a half later, I played that game more than when it first came out. And I played it consecutively for two straight because they fixed everything. Okay.
yeah,
Avengers, I really wanted to love the Avengers game. I never finished it. I gave
me
up.
neither.
To me, it was just grinding. I got dizzy. I so like I've run into games where I will be honest, if something I love, if it's a train wreck, I'm gonna call it out for being a train wreck. I had so much fun playing this game as a DC fan and a fan of characters. Like I never thought I'd be able to play a game as Batgirl, like a full game as Batgirl or
Mhm.
Red Hood or even Robin or Night. Like to be able to do that was fantastic. For all of them to have their own story was fantastic. I mean, all the customization stuff. Could there things be a little cleaner, easier? Yes, but we're just nitpicking on small things. I didn't see the hate, and I didn't see all the problems that the people played the game with. I enjoyed it. I had more fun playing. I still have not finished Arkham Knight. I know what happens, it's time, but I know because it kept freezing on me, and like I'm
Yeah.
like I don't know what to do anymore. Like I got I beat every other one. I even beat the Origins. I went through every Gotham, but Arkham Knight just kept freezing. I gave up. I didn't have any of those problems, man. So I know I've ranted for too long, but once again, it's is it perfect? No. Is it the game of the year? No. Is it a solid game if you're a DC fan and a Batman fan? Absolutely, you will have a blast playing it. And if you don't, then you're just angry at the world. I'm
Well,
sorry.
look, I haven't played it yet. I was gonna download it, but decided to wait because I wanted to jump into some other stuff that was releasing, and we're
Yeah.
gonna get into those next. And if I made the right decision,
Well, no,
but yeah,
and the thing is,
I'm definitely playing this game at some point.
you got Black Friday coming up. You'll definitely get it at a good price. And I will tell you, if
Yeah.
you enjoyed the Arkham games, and this in the Arkham games, sometimes it became tedious being Batman. So
Hmm.
the ability of like, all right, I'm done using Red Hood stuff. Let me switch to Robin, or let me go to Batgirl. Let me use Nightwing, and you get to pick. I was a sucker, man. I was a kid of the '80s, so the choose your own adventure books were the bomb. To be
Yep.
able to choose which mission to go on with which character and have them, talk to that character, not just generic statements, but they're interacting and they're making fun of the character based on their history was cool. So I love that. I love that open world part of it. To me, really resonated. So I loved it. I don't know what all the I have my theories, but I don't know what all the fuss was about.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into it eventually, and I think it's just become the cool thing to kind of hate on DC a little bit. And, whether it's the movies, whether it's the games, it just kind of seems to be, everybody wants it to be Marvel, and it's not. It's its own thing. So let it live and enjoy it.
Yeah, and like I said, if it was crap, man, I'd call it out. And like I don't care. Like I said, I love Spider Man. I love the Miles Morales game. The Avengers
Mhm.
game, I really wanted to love it. I really did. But I know, no. And there's other games I've played which I love, but so I'll call it out. If it's not good, I will call it out. So I'm not being a shill here. It's just it was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than some of the other stuff, like I said. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I don't know nothing.
Yes. So look, I skipped Gotham Knights because I was like, you know what? Let me get Call of Duty. So I got the new Call of Duty, Modern Warfare
Mhm.
2. I am still I don't understand. I've been playing Call of Duty games since I was in middle school at this point. I'm still pretty bad at these games.
Mhm.
Like, I am not good at shooters. Look, gameplay wise, Call of Duty is king for me. First person shooter, they've nailed it. It's the same formula that it's been for, almost 2 decades at this point. Gameplay is amazing. The graphics look great on PS5. I still haven't even beat the campaign. I'm finding myself struggling. Same thing online. I don't have time to grind and unlock all the weapons and attachments and get all the perks that make you good at the game. I'm already falling behind in online, so I'm probably going to put this down pretty quick.
Yeah. Listen, man. I game looked tremendous, but there is a there is a curve when certain games you hit a certain age, unless this is what you do professionally or you're a
Yep.
millionaire and can sit home all day, where you're just going to get eclipsed by these professional gamers and these 11 and 12-year-olds online that play all day. And the 14-year-old kids sniping you from every which way that know every glitch and everything. And it's sad. That's why I skipped it for that reason. For what you just described, I went through with the other Call of Duty, the last one I played, and I love the single player campaign and all that stuff. But yeah, online, like, no, like I'm
Yeah,
with you, man.
like you said, you can't keep up. I'm not willing to spend money to get guns. I'm not willing to throw $50 in to try to unlock good weapons. It's just oh, did we lose you there for a minute? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've lost Will for a couple minutes, so it looks like I'm flying solo for now. I think he's trying to
Can you
get
hear
back
me?
in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm here in spirit. So I
All
had
right.
cam issues, so I'm going to turn my cam back on, see if I'm still frozen. This is about the part of the show we got to last time where we froze. There we go. I'm back.
There he goes. He's back.
hmm But I'm
No, so
freezing
so
again. I'm slow motion. See? Oh, there we go.
yeah, you're kind of lagging a little bit, but it is what it is. If you've watched us before, this happens honestly more often than it should, and we're not really sure how to fix it. So
Nope. All right, there we go. I'm back. See, okay.
there he is.
Yeah.
No, so
But
we
I
were
hear
just
you, man.
talking about
I
Call.
feel for you.
We were talking about Call of Duty, and like I said, I'm not willing to throw $50 in to buy weapons or perks and stuff like that. So just I play it here and there. It's kind of a time killer. If I need something to play for 30, 40 minutes, just kind of jump online, mess around, and kind of leave it at that.
And I feel bad that it's got to be like that, but it's sad, and I love those games. I mean, but I'm with you. I try to, and it's not a positive experience anymore. So yeah, but I'll get it eventually, but not when not right now. So that's the one I skipped with everything coming out.
Yeah, and look, next we're gonna get into a game which is a huge positive for me. God of War Ragnarok came out. This was the reason I didn't buy Gotham Knights. I didn't want to sink my teeth into another storyline. I kind of just wanted something to mess around with, which Call of Duty filled that gap. Now for me, it's all about God of War Ragnarok. Have you had a chance to play this yet?
I have. So I did pick it up. I played that first day. Um, I played. I'm maybe like an hour and a half in, and then I stopped because I knew I was close to the end of Gotham Knights. I said, "All right, let me finish this." And now,
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is approaching. This is my prime time of year where I'll sink into a game, and this will be my game, from now through Thanksgiving. Now, where I'll try to go through it. So yeah, no, I'm with you. Like I said, I've only played an hour and a half. it's one of those things that's curious too because it is a Sony game, Sony Studios. So of course all the reviews were amazing before it got released, and it makes you always wonder and take pause.
Yeah.
But it's tremendous. Tell you what, man. Oh my god! And no spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for people. Um, but 10 minutes into the game,
Yeah,
jeez,
I know exactly
jeez,
what you're talking about.
right? And you know what I've gone through like the last 2 months. I was like, I thought I was being punked. I was like, that was a little rough. So honestly, part of me was, I played for about 30, 40 minutes after that. I was like, I just need to take a break.
Uh-huh.
I was a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a mess because it just triggered all this stuff. But no, man, I love what I played for so far. What are your thoughts?
I'm right there with you. I think the game's incredible. I'm probably, I want to say maybe 10 hours in, so I'm a little bit further than you, and it's everything you could have wanted and more, right? The game looks fantastic. The combat is still great. The storyline so far is awesome. Like you said, awesome action set pieces, emotional beats that you kind of didn't expect to get from this kind of game. The relationship of all the characters is playing out nicely. I like where they're going with the story so far. I don't want to get into any spoilers, but this game deserves all the praise it was getting before it released.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Like I said, I'm only an hour and a half in, but it's not because the game bored me or didn't. I just had one emotional reaction. One, two, I was so close to finishing Arkham Knights, and I'm like you, man. I hate to be doing two narrative single player games at the same time. It drives me nuts. So if I can get through it,
Yeah, me
which I
too.
did, and I don't mean in a bad way. Like I enjoyed my ride through Arkham Knights, and now I get to just sink my teeth into God of War 2. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, look, if you have the chance, go out, buy God of War Ragnarok, play it. You will not be disappointed, especially if you liked the 2018 God of War.
Yeah. Which I started my playthrough, and then something happened. I get through it, and it's like I'm close to the end. I'm like three-quarters of the way through. I'm like, do I just finish it again and then go back into two? Like I'm just so close. I feel like I did all that work for nothing.
At that point, you might as well. What do you got? Maybe 3 hours left, 4 hours
That's what I'm
left.
saying. I've got about no more than 4 hours left, and if I don't just start trying to find every little uh, knock down every rune to get every little thing, I'll move through pretty quickly. So yeah, I may just finish and then have like I said with Thanksgiving looming, really dive into God of War 2. But yeah, man, I got lucky. I knew these two games were coming out back to back. Or the three big games. I made a call, got through one, enjoyed it, really did. I'll probably go back and play and just for the heck of it, wrap up a couple, mop up Gotham a little bit more because I think it was only complete like 54%. Um, but you know, I'm really ready to buckle down and play God of War. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be at the next couple of weeks. Probably finish God of War, maybe a second playthrough, depending on how good it is and how much I like it, and then right into Gotham Knights. So kind of reverse order of what you went into.
Yeah. Well, you will. I mean, if you go in with an open mind, you will enjoy it. Um, like I said, it's not. They made it sound like it was an Avengers level disaster, and it was not. Um, it really wasn't. Like, and it was much better. Like, I really liked it. Like, I really did like it. I enjoyed playing it, and so like I said, it was a little short, but it was good, and I'm excited now to get into to God of War.
Yeah, look, there's one more little PlayStation story that I wanted to jump into. PSVR 2 was announced. I believe it comes out in January, and the cost of this is $550. Look, I was interested in it for $550. I think it's a pass for me until it's on clearance somewhere. You picking up a PSVR 2?
Nope, nope, no, I'm not. Once again, see previous part in the podcast when I talk about what it would take to buy me that controller, and if that's occurring in a couple months, then maybe, but not right now. No.
Yeah, and right now to me, it's not warranted. There's not. I know they have the Horizon game, but for me, and all these VR games seem kind of shorter than a regular like actual video game release. You're talking a couple hours to spend $550 on something that I'm maybe going to play two games that give me 8 to 10 hours of playtime. I don't think it's really worth it, and I think this is an uphill battle for Sony.
Yeah, and we'll see. I think in a time when people are being more concerned about finances to start increasing prices or put them out at this time, that the timing may not be the best
Yeah.
to have it really be as mainstream as you want it. Is it going to sell? Absolutely, but how big it's going to be, I'm with you. I don't know about this one.
And also, let's call it what it is. PlayStation 5 has been out for 2 years. There's still a ton of people out there who don't even have the console yet, who can't even who still can't even get it.
Right? Like I,
So
I didn't.
that's gonna hinder sales on the VR part of it too.
Right, and like I said, I didn't get mine till earlier this year.
Mhm.
Sometime in the summer. Like I was able to grab it in August, but it's and it's are there ways to do it? Were there ways to track and yeah, but like as far as just I didn't want to have to plan a secret mission that like it's like I don't know like I don't know some of these people's plans where it's like I'm gonna stay in this line but I've got it electronically here but if I get the I was like no so
It
I'm with
shouldn't be
you.
that hard to buy things.
No, no, and if it is, it's like the only it would be like, tracking down your grail purchase. It wouldn't be just, and then whatever. It's I'm not done buying things after the PS5, so I wouldn't consider it my grail, but yeah, I'm with you, man. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's really it. Look, we did want to talk about a movie that released, a pretty big movie, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I have seen it. Will, you have not seen it yet. Um,
Mm.
so I'm not going to get into anything spoilers. I'm not going to throw any storyline plots out there. But overall, I do think this is a good movie. Do I think it's as good as the first one? Probably not. But overall, in the grand scheme of what Phase 4 has been, I put this probably right below Spider-Man and on top of every other movie they've released. And look, uh, that kind of take that how you will. I know a lot of people are very divisive on Phase 4. A lot of people don't think it's very great. There's a lot of kind of a lot of misses in there. You talk Thor, Black Widow, Shang-Chi was good, but I would put Black Panther on top of this. It's a very good movie. It's an emotional movie. There's parts, obviously, with what happened with the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. You knew you were going to get some of that stuff. So go see this movie. It's enjoyable. The action is good. It maybe 10 to 15 minutes too long. There's some points where it just kind of drags along a little bit, but overall, awesome movie. The music was fantastic, and it was a nice wrap up for Phase 4 overall.
Yeah, I'm looking here, not that it matters, but I'm just looking. So it was third, um, it was third domestically, it looks like behind I'm looking at your Phase 4 movies behind Spider-Man and
Mhm.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
It
and
looks
I look.
like,
I think this is a better movie than Doctor Strange. So
yeah.
I could see this having legs over the next couple weeks, especially like you said with Thanksgiving break popping up, everybody off that weekend. I think this movie's gonna carry, and I think it's gonna do pretty well for Marvel.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm excited to see it. I will probably end up seeing it next weekend. We were supposed to see it this weekend. Some things fell through. Excited to see Namor. Excited to see where they go with it. So a couple questions I was going to ask you, and like I said, no
Yeah, of course.
spoilers. I would just um, and you answer one of them. So you would put it right behind Spider-Man of Phase 4, probably the second. Now the second best thing or the second movie?
So
And the only
Phase
reason I go
4.
there, yeah, because we talked about some of the Disney Plus stuff, including Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night and things of that, of how much of the enjoyment. I know it's different comparing a show to a movie, but as far as just pure enjoyment, like how much you enjoyed something.
So overall, Phase 4, I would probably go Spider-Man, Werewolf by Night, Black Panther 2.
Okay.
So it's right in that upper echelon. And look, Spider-Man: No Way Home is a fantastic movie. I mean, we've talked the past couple weeks about how much we love the Werewolf by Night, and I would put that right behind it.
Okay. Do you think? And this is what I'm curious on. And I'm the wrong person for this because I'm just like I just want to see Namor. Okay. Um, So no, I mean, like, so I'll be happy. But do you think to the casual Marvel fan, will it be lacking as far as characters to connect to or recognizable characters? I know there's a lot of characters. If you've seen the first movie, obviously they bring pretty much everyone back. But as far as we were talking last week about legacy characters and different characters, and I mean, spoiler, little minor spoiler. We know Ironheart makes an appearance, and we know we're going to get a new Black Panther, and there's some stuff. But do you think it is light on recognizable characters for the casual viewer?
Yes and no, because like you said, it does have the returning cast from the first movie, and obviously that first movie did so well. I think it made over
Absolutely.
$1 billion.
Hmm.
So it has the star power there, whether you're talking about Latita Wright or Winston Duke coming back. Angela Bassett, who was amazing in the movie, she did a fantastic job. So I think that that's going to kind of carry it, and I think they do a good job of introducing the new characters that they inject into this movie and making you like those characters.
Okay. So another thing that, now this is a minor spoiler, but that's not going to give anything away. So there's one end credit scene which we won't talk about, but there's
Mhm.
no. Is that a mid credit scene? Right? There's nothing. Is that at the very end or is it a mid credit?
So it's a mid credit. You get your
Right?
kind
Because
of
there's nothing.
animated,
Yeah, you get your
yeah, you
mid
get your
credit scene.
animated credits with a song, showing like the main cast, and then it cuts. You get your credit scene, and then after that, there's nothing else.
Right. So no end credit, which makes sense. I've had the mid credit scene spoiled for me, so I know the tone of it. It makes sense. Um, do you think there? So if you think of, I'm just wondering, does it do a good job? Obviously, it does for the movie but do you do a good job having a set of, I don't want to say closure, but I guess closure of Phase 4 or ending of Phase 4. Now we're moving into something new. Does it?
So this movie, at the end of this movie, when you leave the theater, for me personally, it felt more of like a, not necessarily, it's a very contained story. It's very specific to Wakanda, that
Mhm.
world that they
Which
set up in that first movie.
a lot of Phase
It's
4. That's we talked about, right?
Yeah,
Very
so
contained
it
story.
kind of falls right in line. Like, you're not getting the next big bad for the MCU in this movie. You're not getting some huge, setup for what Phase 5 is going to be. Like you said, obviously, it's not a spoiler. Ironheart is in the trailers. Namor's in this movie. So yeah, there's pieces there, but overall, greater MCU, big threat, kind of Thanos level stuff. You're not getting that in this movie.
Does it leave you excited? Because we already know we're getting an Ironheart show. That's been announced. Does it leave you excited? We've got that one and some other characters of the future of some of these characters and where they'll show up.
Overall, yes.
Okay.
I'm excited to see these characters pop up again, and I think that goes to what Ryan Coogler does with the world of Wakanda. He's really set this up. He makes you like all these characters, and you get more of all those characters you like from Black Panther One in this movie. And I want to see these characters again. As far as going like Ironheart, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like overly excited for it, but I'm not mad at the character and the way they set her up in this.
Okay. And I just take it as we talked about the last two big ones before this with Doctor Strange and Thor, and the minor characters kind of introduced in those movies. Um, it just felt like I don't know. Like I know there was a lot of blowback online with America Chavez's character and kind of be like,
Mhm.
it's kind of just it was seemed forced or just overpowered or whatever I'm not really excited going forward. And then with Thor, like, oh, now he's got a kid. Now I'm supposed to be excited. You know what I'm saying? So I was just wondering, like, we know what we're getting kind of in Phase 5, but with all these contained stories, I wonder, what's going to connect or what's going to come out of this phase into something else. I guess is where I'm going.
It's interesting because obviously we know Phase 5 and Phase 6. We have that lineup, of all the movies that are set, and obviously Kang is the next big bad of
Hmm.
the MCU. You see him in the Ant-Man trailer and all that stuff. I feel like there's going to kind of be some like almost not retconning, but kind of little threads that tie together going forward in Phase 5. Maybe the more you see Kang, where maybe he had his hand in something that happened in this movie and you didn't know about it, or maybe he was kind of behind the scenes in this TV show and you didn't know about it. I think that might be what they're going to try to do, because right now Phase 4, it's kind of, if you watch all of Phase 4, it's kind of its own self-contained thing. It's very weird. It doesn't really, yeah, it deals with the aftermath of Endgame and Infinity War, but it doesn't really push the greater story forward. Everything seemed self-contained to the movie or show that it was in.
Yeah, and we don't. I'm trying to think of the new stuff announced. Okay, you got Thunderbolts, so you got a mix of characters from basically Phase One, Phase Three, and Phase Four kind of showing up. But
Mhm.
I don't see. I guess what I'm trying to say is from Phase Four. Do we have any characters that are either going to spin off into their own thing or be show up? I mean, show up again, but become major players and show up. That's kind of where I just it seems like
I For me,
that get
I
that.
think your biggest character that has a chance of like becoming an actual like huge main character is probably Shang-Chi. I think,
Mhm.
he's gonna kind of be one of the big ones going forward, but everybody else kind of seems like where are they going to fit in? And like you said, they're pushing
Right.
the youth movement into the MCU with, you see what's her name? Cassie Lang and Ant-Man. We talked about that on the first part of this episode with the trailer. Like you said, Ironheart's in this. You had the twins in WandaVision. So, and spoilers for She-Hulk. If you haven't seen She-Hulk, you get Scar in there. So it seems
Well,
like they're trying to
Scar
push the
name
new
only,
phase
but
of
yeah.
what the MCU is going to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems they're trying to push that youth movement into the MCU to get your next group of core characters. But as of right now, the setup for me at least hasn't been as good as it was previously.
Right. And I know it'd be tough to, set up another Avengers, but I would say like, okay, I'm excited after Falcon Winter Soldier to see to see the new Cap. You know what I'm saying? I think that's
Mhm.
good. That's exciting to me. Um, but it just feels like I don't know to set up like we'll see. I just feel like I said, can't really skip it, but like it would you don't get to me if you see Avengers the last two Avengers movies and you didn't weren't all caught up on the other phases, it wouldn't have that emotional impact. With here, I'm thinking
No.
like you could have skipped this phase and probably it looks what's coming next, you wouldn't be totally lost. Where I feel like you would totally miss a bunch uh jumping ahead in the other phases. So
Yeah, and like I said, that's kind of why I'm hoping that they kind of go back through phase 5 and you see like those little breadcrumbs, of something that was set up in phase 4, whether it's a movie or a TV show, like, oh, you know what? I didn't pick up on that, but now this makes sense. Why did this happen?
right.
Or this character was here for this reason because of this. And hopefully there's some kind of retconning / thread connection because you go through phase 4, there's so many loose threads in that entire phase that still haven't been taken care of, whether it's, the Shang-Chi extra credit scene, White Vision, all this stuff that's set up. So they have a lot of they have a lot of housekeeping to do.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man. Well, thank you for sharing.
That's it. Look, and obviously when you see the movie, we'll dive into spoilers heavy. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot to talk about, story plots and all that stuff. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back to it. Um, and I'll give you something through the lens of my Namor viewing experience of what I thought too. So we'll get that because that went so well when I was talking about Hulk on She-Hulk. But yeah,
Hey, look, I didn't mention Namor in my spoiler-free review because I don't want to give you any thoughts on what the character is because I know you're a fan and I want to get your actual reaction of what you thought.
yep, looking forward to it. It'll be soon. Hopefully by next week.
Yeah. So look, that's part 2 of episode 25. Big
Yeah, that's a
episode.
show. That's a show because I'm yeah, that's a show.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. We'll be back this week with another episode of Various Stages of Growth.
Yep. So we'll keep it going. I guess I'm gonna close this out. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, you can close this out there.
I couldn't hear you. We got no more technical issues.
No, it's I was waiting for our closeout. I was waiting for our closeout, Matt.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. As always, I'm Matt.
And I am Will.
See you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.